Hello my dears, we are going to talk about the idea of mental age today because it makes me angry. Well, I don't often get angry, so we're just gonna say annoyed, but like, angry. So, mental age is that thing where somebody points to a 45-year-old disabled person and says, he has the mental age of a 7-year-old. And that has problems, which we will get into in just a hot second, but before we do that, let's see what the origins of mental age are. The IQ test. Oh no. We won't go into the depths of what an IQ is or how it works, but basically an IQ is called your intelligence quotient. So when your mental age and your chronicle age come out of the test as identical, or an IQ of 100, you are normal. If your mental age comes out above your chronological age, an IQ of over 100, you are extra intelligent. If it comes out below, I think you get it at this point. And we all also know at this point that the IQ test is a hot mess because any standardized test is, by definition, skewed against non-white, non-cis, non-female disabled people. That's just a fact. And the standard IQ test is still widely used today, actually. They made some changes to it to make it slightly less skewed, but it's still not great. In my opinion, it's as helpful and as accurate as your BMI. So, not well researched or valid or reliable as a test, but too widely used to make it effectively obsolete. But anyway, people use mental age as a way to discriminate against people and infantilize them, saying that these people are delayed or immature, and these things are clearly very harmful, not only because it makes us feel like we're not capable of the same things that everybody else is able to do, and people infantilize us due to stigma and stereotypes, which then proves this fact, but also because it demeans our capabilities, just because we need a little bit of extra help. We deserve the help that we need without having to be infantilized or dismissed in order to get it. It's also often used to say that being in a relationship with an autistic or disabled person is predatory, which is not cool on so many levels. Either way, you need to know a lot more before you can make that claim, regardless of disability. A 45-year-old person with Down syndrome doesn't have the mind of a 7-year-old. They have the mind of a 45-year-old because they have lived in this world for 45 years and they have the life experiences of a 45-year-old. They simply have some differences. It doesn't mean that they're effectively a toddler. For autism especially, this can also be a double standard. Some autistic people are seen as mentally children and others are seen as hyper-mature and too wise for their years. And first of all, traditionally when people say to a child, "You have an old soul," or "You're so mature," you're saying, "Oh, you're clearly traumatized and you know far too much for the age that you physically are, but we're just going to ignore the systemic issues that have made it that way and instead compliment you on your intelligence and handling of your trauma." Why do we do this? I don't get it. In general, autistic people seem to age differently because we don't conform to social norms, so we tend to be perceived as very mature in childhood and very childish in adulthood. I, for one, love Disney princesses and bows and dinosaur chicken nuggets and stuffed animals, but I am still an adult. I still have 19 years of life experience, and those 19 years have made me realize that I deserve to like things that I like, and cope with the bad in the world in a way that I like, and I shouldn't care what anybody else thinks about it. And that's kind of the theme here. Societal expectations choose what is deemed as delayed and childish. There's this idea that if somebody has immature interests, they don't understand other adult interests and are therefore delayed and whatnot. But for me, it means that I understand the adult interests, they don't interest me in any way at all whatsoever, and I'm content doing what I want to do, thank you very much. Also, the amount of people that get surprised when an autistic person cusses, and then they say something like, "Oh my goodness, I've never heard you swear before, I thought you were so innocent." And first of all, you thought I was neurotypical too until I said something, so maybe don't trust your own intuition. And second of all, I swear like a ship full of sailors if you know me well enough, so clearly you're not cool enough to be at that point. But in all seriousness, some autistic people genuinely do age differently. As we've talked about before in my hypermobility video, which you can watch over here, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS, is significantly more common in neurodivergent people. And the base trait of EDS is wonky collagen, which is the stuff that holds your joints together. It also affects your skin, which means that older autistic people can look a lot younger because EDS skin doesn't wrinkle as easily. But that's not their mental age, that's their perceived age, which is different. But I thought I would put it in there. Now, some conversations about mental age also discuss words typically associated with children or disabled people, such as cute and sweet and wholesome and pure. It's important to acknowledge that autistic traits and people aren't innately wholesome, in the sense that the word does have age-related connotations for a group of people who are continuously infantilized and dismissed. And it's super valid for people to feel like by being called wholesome or pure that they're being infantilized and not taken seriously. On the other hand, I have personally spent far too long being told that I'm too old for supposedly childish things, and that there's something effectively wrong with me for liking them. And I've spent a lot of time being told that wholesomeness and purity are wrong, and that I'm not supposed to be that way, and that my pureness needs fixing. And that led me into bad things. So for me, I try to make wholesome content and be a generally wholesome and pure human as a way to reclaim that piece of my identity that was forcefully taken away. So being called words like that, unless it's in a situation like this where I'm trying to be serious and educate, then no, it's a bit of a win for me, because it means that I'm doing something that makes me happy regardless of how society may feel about that thing. I also think that somebody can be wholesome and pure and still be cool and swear like a sailor and have sex, and that the connotations behind those words really need to change. And as a linguist, I know that that is possible, though it's probably going to take a while. But to wrap this up, yes, for me, those words make me feel like I've conquered something and that I'm reclaiming a part of my identity that was forcefully taken away, but it's important to realize that for some people it does the exact opposite, so just be aware of how your words are impacting people. Also, for those of you who have been told continuously that purity and wholesomeness is wrong, please go paint some rocks and kindly gift them to the mean people. They're clearly having a very difficult time being insecure about their maturity, and they could use a nice thing to make them smile. All in all, treat people as the full humans that they are, regardless of disability, regardless of age. Every person deserves kindness. They just do. Anyway, as always, thank you for listening, thank you for learning, and remember that your story isn't over, it has only just begun. Have a lovely rest of your day, my dears, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.